We are so very excited about today's Rolonda because today on my show, you're going to meet a woman who enjoys making a difference in people's lives. Naomi Judd joins us, folks, to talk about... Go on and clap for her. Absolutely. Listen, Naomi is going to talk to us today about career, about family, and about how she and thousands of volunteers across the country are gearing up to help those less fortunate. Now, you know you can say a lot about Naomi Judd. She's one of the most talented, most beautiful women in the world, but I think she's got the biggest heart of just about anybody in showbiz. We're going to tell you about Make a Difference Day, which is so important to Naomi. It's coming up this Saturday on October 26th, and if you're somebody who cares about your neighbors, and you're somebody who cares about making America a better place and your community the best and the tops, then you want to tune into this show and find out how you can help too. Naomi knows all too well how difficult life can be, especially when you're in need. She lived a real-life rags to riches story that many of you may not know about. I mean, she went from being a single welfare mom, raising 2 little girls, to becoming this huge country western star who we know with one of the most successful country music duos in history. Naomi and her daughter, Wynonna, have 6 Grammy Awards to their name in just 8 years. With a voice as sweet as honey. Please welcome multi-Grammy winning singing sensation and super mom of Wynonna and Ashley Judd. Welcome, Naomi Judd. I love you. That was a great intro. Listen, it comes from the heart. Wait a minute. Look at this. Oh, the show hadn't even started. This man is busted out into tears. What is going on?
I haven't seen Naomi in 5 years.
It's been a while. Look at this.
Now tell me, who are you?
I'm David Dannenberg.
Yeah.
And I'm a Judds fan since 85.
Oh, it says 85.
85.
Look at you just streaming with tears. What are you feeling right now?
Oh, happiness.
Really?
Yeah, like seeing an old friend.
Yeah, she's a sweet lady, isn't she?
Sure
I
is.
love these people. I was always very lonely. I always felt very anonymous. And we got into country music, and I see all these people up there. Look, she's got on a farewell concert shirt. My goodness, I haven't seen that in a while, girl.
Kind of like family.
I'm so glad to see you.
Same here.
Yeah, oh, that's so nice.
Hi.
Go and have a seat and just come on in. You are just something else. I'm so proud of you. You've got so many things going on.
Right back at you.
Yeah.
You know, one of the great things about these dear folks is that no matter where I go in the world, I feel welcome, you know? Yeah. Ooh, you're gonna make me cry.
I know. He just
I mean, I don't know. I know David, but I might not know everybody's name because people usually hi.
I know those faces, right?
Sometimes they don't even tell me their name. You know, they just come up to me in the grocery store, or at the airport, or just on the street, and they just start, you know, telling me what they're going through or whatever, and I get so involved.
Yeah. But you understand that. I mean, I think you understand what people go through when they're going through a tough time. I mean, your story yourself, it amazes me that all the things that you've been through. I mean, a welfare mom raising 2 little girls all the way up to this big rags to riches story, basically. Yep. Can we go back? Let's go back to you as a little girl.
It says right there, the Rolonda show.
The Rolonda show.
You can do whatever you want.
And one day, and you know something, and Naomi's coming out with her own talk show. You're going to be my competition.
No, I'm not going to be competition.
But one of the things I think that's going to help make your show so successful is the fact that people will be able to relate to some of the things that you've gone through as a single mother and as a woman trying to build a career and keep your morality about you and all those different things. You grew up, Mama was a cook, is that right?
On a riverboat on the Mississippi.
A riverboat cook. Daddy owned a gas
It sounds
station.
very romantic, but it wasn't really. Except that, well, my dad left my mom for a girl my age, and my family was going through all this crisis. And so many women out there, you know, you hit the middle age craziest thing. Uh-oh, I see people shaking their heads.
First
Been there,
Wives
done
Club's
that.
all out there.
But Mama had raised all us kids, 4 kids, and she'd never worked a day outside of the house. So all of a sudden, Daddy's gone with a chickie poo, and the Wynonna calls it a boop-de-boop.
The boop-de-boop.
And, what Mama didn't know what to do, but she could sure cook.
Right.
We were sitting up all night trying to figure out what in the world she could do to pay the rent, and she got a job on the riverboat, married the pilot.
Married the pilot of the riverboat.
So that's why I want to say to you, honey, get mad, get even, get over it.
So you grew up in I guess a poor environment.
Well, not really. Daddy had a filling station, a gas station.
A filling station. You're such Southerners. I know what the filling station. Down south they say filling station as opposed to a gas station. And so you raised these girls. You were on welfare. You also went through a stint as a battered woman.
Yep.
Really, it's so hard to look at you and believe that you.
Why do you think that we put ourselves through that?
Why?
Why do you think? No, I want to
Because
hear
people
you.
are. Why do we think we put up with being battered? Because we're scared that we feel like we have no place else to go. We feel like maybe that's the only way a man will love us. Maybe we're so desperately seeking love, and everything that feels good isn't good for you.
Right.
And you end up in bad situations. Why do you think?
Why do you think?
Wait, hold on. Let me ask. Why do you think? Why do you think?
What do I think?
Why do you think that women stay in a battered relationship?
Because I think sometimes they think they love the person or they need the person, sometimes financial reasons.
For you, why was it?
I was 21 or 22, and I got married when I was 17. I got pregnant the first time I had sex. Be careful, girls. I don't know how old you are, but you listen to your Aunt Naomi. It's possible.
17.
Yep, the night before my senior year of high school, I got pregnant the first time I had sex. And her name's Hurricane Wynonna.
Hurricane Wynonna.
The Countess of Hip, the Mistress of Jam, wits and glitz, glamour and clamor with spunk to spare.
And this is her mama. I want to talk to you about what it was like traveling with Wynonna, mothers and daughters on tour. This I gotta hear. Stay with us as we talk more with Naomi Judd about family, about career, and about what she's doing this Saturday, October 26th. And you can help out too. It's Help Make a Difference in the lives of those less fortunate. Help Make a Difference Day coming up. We're going to talk about that too right after this. I think that was one of the most touching scenes, probably one of the most touching times in your life, for sure. Yeah. We're back talking with Naomi Judd today, folks, who experienced a life-changing event back in 1990. She was diagnosed with chronic hepatitis, putting a sudden end to her incredibly successful music career. The clip you just saw there was from the Judds farewell concert, where Naomi and Wynonna bid a tearful goodbye while singing their Grammy-winning song, Love Can Build a Bridge. What were you feeling at that moment?
Well, it's interesting when you are allowed to, don't do that, honey, you're going to make me cry.
You can cry on the Rolonda show. We got plenty of tissues, believe me.
Wynonna calls me the Kleenex queen. I always have one with me. I felt it was almost, well, it was definitely a 10 on the emotional Richter scale, because I love the fans and singing and traveling, waking up in a different subculture in America every day. Of course, being with Wynonna. But frankly, I would have collapsed into an emotional heap on the stage if it weren't for my maternal instinct, because the stage is just everything to me. It's how I communicated with people, which is all I'm about anyway. But when I looked over and saw Wynonna losing it, you come out of yourself, you know, for other people, and that's what's always saved my butt, frankly. Because I was afraid they were going to have to drag me off that stage, you know, screaming and kicking and clutching the microphone stand, going, no, no.
I can't go, I can't go. How has Wynonna dealt with this? Because I'm sure that she's tried to be strong for you as well. You're both trying to be strong for each other. And
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
Well, originally when I was diagnosed, she started sinking into a clinical depression. By the end of the tour, she was in bad shape because she had never in her life considered being away from me a day. I know this is weird, but she was 27 and we'd never been apart a day in her life. I mean, could you do that with your mom?
I couldn't do it with mine.
I don't think so. I can see her face. But we were just so psychologically and spiritually and emotionally bonded. We're each other's best friends, and when I was diagnosed, there were so many different layers. There was the fact that the doctor said I wasn't going to make it because this is a terminal illness.
The doctor said that you were supposed to be dead in 3 years.
That's right. They don't have a cure. It's hepatitis C, and it's the 4th killer in America, and people don't even know about it. So, and it was hard because I'm a member of the mainstream medical community. I'm an RN. So I knew. I mean, I could look at the pathology report on the liver biopsy, all the lab work, and modern medicine didn't have anything they could do. So I was freaked because I thought I was going to die. I'm not afraid to die because I know I'm a spiritual being inside this physical body, first and foremost. And I think God's a supernatural being. But I was so concerned about her because she had never thought about singing by herself. Ashley was wigged out. I'd just gotten married. My husband was beside himself with grief, so it was tough.
Why do you think God's letting you have all this borrowed time?
It's not because I'm great, it's because He's great. I talk about, I go all over the country now talking about the spirit, mind, body connection. And I try to tell people, you can believe the diagnosis. If somebody tells you that you have cancer, heart disease, diabetes, whatever, be very intelligent, get smart, participate in your situation. And if you decide to believe the diagnosis, I mean, I knew I had liver disease. Like I said, I'm an RN myself. But I denied the prognosis. They told me that the way the inflammation in my liver was progressing, I had maybe 3 years to live. I went,
not Naomi.
You ain't God. Only God can tell you when your time's up.
When you get in those situations and you start thinking about your family and your life and then your purpose for being here, did anything change with you? Did you start saying, you know, from here on out, this is what I'm going to do. This is going to be my purpose. This is what my aim is. What did you say?
Well, I've always been a believer. I mean, the first thing my mama told me, the first thing I can ever remember, her words, she told me that God is a supernatural being, that the universe runs on His laws. And I totally bought into it, because that means that you're special, you know, and I love that. No, I'm serious. Behavioral scientists tell us by the time a child is three stinking years old, they already have their self-concept that they're a winner or a loser. And that's why we've got the drive-bys and the gangs and all the madness, because these dear little children aren't told that they're a package, that they're special and they can do anything. But I bought into it, and I'm cruising through life with the top down. Nothing's too preposterous or ludicrous.
I love what you say, and I go by this same thing, that when God closes a door, He opens a window or another door.
Bingo.
And that is surely is proof in your life.
But Rolonda, it just seems so unfair because I loved singing so much. I just felt like my whole life, all the garbage had been worth it, because when I was standing on that stage and I looked at you guys, I got it. I'd been there, done it, seen it. I'd been on welfare. I'd been a battered woman. You know, I was a single working mom, Wynonna and Ashley's whole life. I'd felt beaten down and lonely and all that. And then when I was up there, I'd look out and I'd see your all faces and I'd go, I know, I get it. And then to have it just, you know, snatched away from me about the time that
He's just getting going.
Yeah. Oh, we got signed to the record label when I was 37. So.
Wait a minute. I want to talk about that story when y'all went in for that audition and got signed up right there on the spot. Let's back up a little bit. We're going to continue this conversation. Also up next, you're going to meet people who have unselfishly given of themselves to help those in need. But first, here's a look at Naomi's first primetime special. It's called Very Personal with Naomi Judd, premiering October 30th on the Family Channel. In this clip, she's getting the scoop from Jay Leno.
Oh, that is a frightening photograph. Oh, my gosh.
Remember when you used to be our opening act in Las Vegas?
Yes, and I'm still wearing those same clothes.
Wynonna said you wore the ugliest suit she had ever seen.
Well, that's very kind of her. You know, people that live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Faces a new judge, but this time there's only one talk show with a seat in the courtroom, and that's Rolonda, bringing you what the other shows cannot in special Friday shows. Next, Rolonda.
Whoa, what a pair of pipes there. She gosh, Naomi, she must have been a loud baby.
I said in my book, the first line of my book is, she came out screaming on key and searching for harmony.
All right, well, she sure got it. How do you travel with your daughter on the road? Now, a lot of us with moms, we couldn't be with that long on tour. How did you get along doing all that?
I really think we deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. When we started out, we just fought like cats and dogs, frankly. It was pretty bad. I think that one of the reasons that kids resent their parents when you're in a single parent situation is they need us so much. They need us so darn much and love us so much, and especially when Wynonna was going through her hormonal convergence as a teenager. There were times we couldn't even talk to each other, but we could still sing together.
So how do you work it out? I mean, how do you get past the things that mothers and daughters...
You live on a bus for 8 years.
You work it out.
You'll either kill each other or you will work it out, I promise.
Naomi has been a nurse, she has been a secretary, a mom, a waitress, and divorced. Naomi Judd has never stopped working to help others, though. Before we get into what you're doing on Make a Difference Day, which is coming up this Saturday, tell that wonderful story about how you and Wynonna got your big start.
I was working as a RN at a little country hospital and met a family when I took care of their daughter, and that's how I've lived my whole life, really, is person to person. And we didn't have an 8x10, we didn't have a bio, we didn't have a tape, we didn't have a clue. We walked into RCA Records, which at that time was the biggest label in Nashville. I was wearing a $20 dress from Walmart. Wynonna had an old plastic string guitar. I mean, you talk about ignorant. We did not know. And we just sat down and said, well, I wrote some songs, y'all want to hear them? We sang our songs, and they said, can you give us an hour? And an hour later they came back and they said, sign here.
And that was the rest, as they say, is history. Amazing.
I think that gives hope to people.
Say what now?
I hope that gives hope to other people, because the human touch is still the most important thing on earth.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that we went in, just sat down face to face and said, hey, you know, can you dig it? If you can't.
Yeah, and you gotta believe.
Yeah.
Also joining us on the show today is a woman who knows what it's like to be helped, especially when you find yourself in need. She herself knows the story of being a battered woman. I'd like you to welcome Lydia, who says the support and endless efforts of two very special women who we're about to meet have made an incredible difference in your life. One thing that you do have in common with Naomi and so many women watching our show, maybe some women here in this audience today, is going through the experience of being a battered woman. And one of the questions that we asked earlier, I know Naomi asked me and we asked somebody in the audience, is why do women stay in a battered situation and how do they get out? Let's start with why you stayed.
One of the reasons was love. I thought, you know, I didn't think with my mind, I thought with my heart. Women leave for many reasons, Rolonda. One of the reasons is that many women have never made it on their own, especially when they have children. It's very difficult to make that one move. For economic reasons, for reasons of cultures. A lot of, let's say I'm a Latina woman. In the Latina culture, to leave your husband is something very taboo. You know, they say that you have to, you know, stay with your husband because he's
Lydia,
the provider.
even when you were going through the things that you went through, you were cut in the face, you were stabbed with an ice pick, you were beaten repeatedly,
Yes.
and nobody was there to say, leave?
I made a hotline call, and the one shelter that I found didn't have any space available. I didn't want to speak with my family about it because I was ashamed. You know, one of the things that my mother told me was, you made your bed, you lay in it, which is very common. You know, again, in the neighborhood, people who knew me, I was very ashamed. I was very ashamed of it.
And then one day, two women came along who made a difference in your
Right.
life. Tell us about that.
Okay, I've been working in the battered women's movement for approximately 11 years. I run a battered women's shelter now because I promised myself after this happened to me that I would dedicate my life, for the rest of my life, to battered women and children.
Bless you. Bless you.
And thank you. And one of the things I remember, I received a phone call from the executive director of the Violence Intervention Program, which is the program that I work for. And they said, we have these two women who want to make a difference in the lives of battered women and their children.
Hold on a second, because those two women turned out to be real angels in your life. And
they
that's what we're
sure
talking
did.
about today, folks. Make a difference day. You may be able to do what these two ladies did or something else that we're going to learn today, but you can make a difference. When we come back, we're going to meet the two struggling actresses who found the time to help a battered woman like Lydia. Find out how when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking with Naomi Judd today, and we also have some people on the show who have gone out into their communities to help make a tremendous difference in the lives of those, particularly neighbors who are less fortunate. We just met Lydia, who was telling us the story about being a battered woman. She could relate to Naomi's story as well. But one thing that Lydia did was that she took her trials and tribulations and turned them into triumph for women in her community who were also being battered. She said it was all because of these two ladies who were kind of like angels on earth. They're struggling actresses who still find the time to help battered women. I'd like you to welcome from New York City, Gabriel and Robbie, who founded the Hands and Hearts and the Tapestry Projects. Welcome, ladies. Lydia, what did these two angels do?
Well, one of the many things they did was that they started, they kind of organized with the women and children, and especially with the women. And women, remember, a lot of battered women who leave their homes, who have never worked, have never kept their household, they started this program where women learned how to do the resumes, how to go out on interviews, how to dress for interviews. And they got clothes that women could use. You know, they spoke to corporations. They made all these calls to different corporations on how to get all these clothes for women so they could use on interviews.
That's right. Well, you know something, one thing I give to the battered women's shelter, and the reason I do is because a lot of times these women leave their homes with their children and the clothes they have on their backs, and they've still got to go to work the next day and put food on the table. So I think that's wonderful. What has this done for you? What does it do? What difference does it make to you to make a difference?
Changed my life.
How?
Completely. It's brought me such wonderful joy that it's the most incredible feeling of something I call healing sweetness, which is like getting out there and getting out of my own way and doing something to help somebody else, and knowing life is bigger than the sum of what's going on in your day. Brings you this phenomenal feeling. And these women are so incredible. They empower us so much because they're so strong and they have such a desire to get out there, start over, be independent, and lead these full lives.
And you let them know they are not alone, and that's the main thing.
They
What
are-
you got in your lap there?
Well, the people that really deserve the praise are people like Lydia, who spend their lives doing this, that devote their entire existence to helping other people get through. When we were honored in Washington, D.C. last April for Make a Difference Day, Capitol Hill was kind enough to fly this flag over the Capitol in honor of all the battered women and the survivors that have moved on in their own lives, and we would like to donate that to Lydia and the Violence and Prevention.
That is so tremendous. Lydia, hold that up with pride. Hold that up with pride, for sure. Unbelievable. I didn't even know that a flag was flown over the Capitol in the spirit of help for battered women. We can make a difference, folks, certainly. Up next, we're going to meet a former homeless boy, a little boy who spent 6 weeks collecting clothes just to help his homeless friends. And later, we're going to find out what a family did to this former crack house right after this. You're going to get tips all day long throughout this show today about how you and your own community can help people live a better life, especially folks who are in need. Everybody in their community needs to watch out for folks who are less fortunate, and that's what we're talking about today. Naomi Judd is joining us, and people who have helped their communities by making a difference. We were just talking to the lady there who made such a difference in her community by starting a battered women's shelter. You yourself have been a battered woman and could certainly relate to the cause. When they were talking and the pride was gushing, I think you got a little lump in your throat, didn't you?
I don't think the average person realizes, now dig this, every 9 to 13 seconds in this country a woman's beaten. Every 9 to 13 seconds a woman is beaten in this country by her husband or living lover. So what I want to tell the woman out there who's watching us right now that's in an abusive relationship, first of all, honey, the deep source of your identity is God. So you got a special birthright and you don't deserve this. I'll answer the question I asked at the first of the show. I think the reason that we women allow men to abuse us is that we're just so desperate for love. I think that's the reason. But I'm so proud of what these women are doing, because the women out there may be hopeless, but we're saying you can be hopeful. But we've got a lot of ways to go, because there's 3 times more animal shelters in America than there are shelters for women and their children.
There are. Yes, there are.
Now, I'm an animal lover, but hello. What's
Hello.
wrong with this bitch?
I know that's right, Naomi. I know that. Well, things that we learn in life is that to keep folks hopeful, you sometimes have to be helpful. Like our next guest, who is only 11 years old, but he's one of those kids who prove you can be a little guy, but you can make a big difference. He's spent over half of his life, now folks, he's only 11, and the boy has spent more than half of his life crusading for the homeless.
I live in Hayward, California, and I'm 9 years old.
Michael Kelly seems just like any other.
I helped raise $1,000 to make a new homeless shelter. My mom influenced me because she was homeless once, and she told me how hard of a life she had. Kid Crusaders is like a little program that every month we do something good. I was one of 10 national honorees because I helped the homeless. I also received an award for Make a Difference Day.
Oh gosh, please welcome from Healdsburg, California, Michael and his mama, Carmen. Michael, as I told you backstage, I'm so proud of you. I mean, you're only 11 years old. What was it that happened?
Are you going to run for president?
I know. Would you like to run for president? What happened in your life? What did you see that made you say, I'm going to help other kids and their families who are homeless?
Well, when I was born, my mom was homeless, and she told me how badly people treated her. And so I wanted to help the homeless by gathering food and clothing, because it made me feel good inside, and I wanted to make other people feel good inside.
Do you remember being homeless?
A little bit, because I had to live with my grandma.
Really? Explain to people what that was like, because a lot of folks have never heard it from a child's point of view, what it's like being homeless.
Well, it's not good because people might like tease you or yell at you, and I didn't really like it.
Carmen, that was a tough time for you.
Yes.
You just had a baby, no place to live. How'd you survive?
Well, I was homeless before him, and I was actually going to give him away. I gave him a different last name so I could give him to somebody else, and I decided to keep him, which is like the best decision in my life because he's my biggest, crusader, and it was like people were really mean, and they just assume that you're a drug addict or a prostitute. And
how did you end up homeless?
It was a combination of a lot of things. I was just young and I was irresponsible, and I became homeless. But after he was born, I realized that there was a reason for living and for getting off the streets and surviving. So
one of the saddest stories I remember hearing about you guys was one Christmas when, Michael, you sat on Santa Claus's lap. Well, a whole lot of kids are asking for go-go cars, and dolls, and all those things. What did you ask for that Christmas?
Well, I asked if all the homeless people could have food and home to live in.
Special kid. Special kid. Coming up next, find out what a family did to this former crack house and find out what you can do to help others in your community right after this.
They haven't seen each other in 33 years.
She was always in my mind.
Now, will they take a second chance with a first love? Well, Monday on Rolonda.
Yes, we have such a special guest with us today. Absolutely, absolutely. A very special guest, country singer, multi-Grammy Award winner, superwoman, super mom. Naomi, you'd be real proud. During the commercial, I was talking to some kids out here. I want to hear with the show, and kids, you get up and whoop it up. How many kids in here are collecting money and doing what they can to help mothers and homeless children? Let me hear you. Where are you? There they are, all over here. Yeah, good stuff, kiddos. We are obviously taking the time on the Rolonda Show today, along with Naomi, just to thank people who are making a difference in the lives of people who need it most. Something all of us can do. If the little ones can do it, the big ones can do it too, right? Yep. All right. Well, joining us now is a husband and wife team who made a big difference in their community. They gave up their jobs to help families in a crack-infested neighborhood.
These are the children whose lives have been changed for the better by a family that gave up nearly everything in order to bring change to a community that had seemed hopeless.
We never thought that we could achieve something this nature.
But achieve Calvin and Catherine Jones did. A year ago, they gave up their jobs and regular lives to open this skilled day and resource center in what was once a crack house in one of the roughest, most violent, crime-ridden neighborhoods in Marion County. Within a few months, they and the community saw results. Test scores in schools went up for children. Despair and crime here went down.
From Ocala, Florida, please welcome Catherine and Calvin. Oh, what a difference. Talk about make a difference. You know, there are a lot of crack houses around, unfortunately, throughout even small towns in America. A lot of folks don't have the guts to do what you did. What was it that made you get out of that house and take control?
Well, with myself, it started out of, I guess, about 40 years ago when I was born into the low-income housing project. I lived there for the first 15 years of my life. Afterward, I worked at 2 different correction institutions for 5 years, and I taught math and science at a detention center for a year. And then I tutored 3 years in this same neighborhood for these kids who was out there. And knowing where these kids were coming from and coming to school every day, I knew there was something I could do to make a difference in their lives due to the fact that it was very, very drug infested.
Yeah, was it tough turning this crack house around? Didn't the drug dealers come after you? I mean, why did you do this?
Yes, it was tough. When I first started, the first 2 weeks when I was renovating this building, they would kick the door in about every day practically. So what I told the manager was, if you don't put the door back up, they can't kick it down again.
Leave an open door.
Yes.
Today it is called the Skilled
Day
Day
Center Incorporated.
And you're helping, tell me exactly what you're doing and how you have seen a difference.
We do a culmination of things. We offer after-school tutorial. We had a GED program for parents. We offer a religious hour on Sundays, and we have a sidewalk Sunday school on Thursdays. We have a bread bank. We are paired up with the Marion Citrus Mental Health to offer family counseling.
Can anybody do this in their neighborhood?
Yes, anybody can do it. You have to have strength and stamina. I must tell you that I told Calvin it couldn't be done. I told him his name is Calvin, not Moses.
And he said, knock the door down. Coming up next, more with people who are helping people and Naomi Judd.
Was I born to be unhappy, just to live on Hardy Street? Was I born to go to the belly stop and cry myself to sleep?
Let me introduce you to Marsha Bullard, who is the president of and editor of USA Weekend. And USA Weekend is the publication that is kicking off this Make a Difference Day, as you've done for many years now. What can somebody do in their own community to make a difference?
You can get together with a couple of friends and go clean up or rake leaves for an old couple in the neighborhood who may not be able to do that. Or you can get really involved and get a lot of friends together. We've heard about one 5-year-old boy in Easton, Maryland, who was at the park with his mom and said, you know, Mom, this playground could be in better shape. So this weekend, he and his mom and his dad and some neighbors are fixing up the playground. They're painting the trash cans in the park.
Oh, that's great.
They're doing a great project that really the city can't afford to do, and so they're making their neighborhood a better place.
Instead of complaining, they're picking up some brooms and picking up some trash. And that is wonderful. There is something all of us can do. Via telephone, we have Tracy Jones from Target in Ocala, Florida, who would like to make a special presentation to Michael and Carmen, as well as to Calvin and Catherine. Tracy, you with us?
Yes, I am.
Go for it.
Well, on behalf of Target stores, we would like to donate to you, Michael and Carmen, towels, socks, and winter jackets. For you, Calvin and Catherine, we would like to donate the supplies you said that you needed the most: pencils, construction paper, staplers, glue, and glitter. Good luck with your continuing efforts in helping those less fortunate.
Oh, that's good. Also to Michael and Carmen, the Walmart store near their hometown wants them to come on down and get whatever you need to help out homeless families. So you going down there to Walmart and have a good time and put some smiles on some folks' faces, okay? Good job. Carol Kappenhagen from Gracious Home has something for Gabriel and Robbie, and Christina Clark from the store Kidding Around would like to donate something. Come on, ladies. Tell us what you're doing here.
I'm right here in New York City on 3rd Avenue and 70th. Okay. And we heard that you needed sheets and towels, and we're donating some sheets and towels.
Oh, that's great. And Gracious Home is a great store. Great store. That's great. That's great. And what have you got?
Kidding Around cares a lot about the community and heard about what you have done for your shelter, and we brought some things to brighten up the lives for the children.
Wow. And some nice things, too. That is just great. Some really nice things. And look at you crying. Look, what are you thinking?
This is wonderful. This is wonderful. I never thought that this was going to come through. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. And it does make a difference. I mean, children make such a difference.
What is that they say? The good stuff, the cream, always rises to the
That's
top,
right.
right?
That's right.
That's right. We'll be
Thank
right
you.
back in a minute, folks. We'll be right back. That's right.
It's OJ Friday on the next Rolonda. A new judge pounds his gavel, but this time there's only one talk show with an inside view. Only one with a seat in the courtroom, and that's Rolonda, bringing you what the other shows cannot. And wrapping up the week's most surprising courtroom developments in special Friday shows. The arguments are heating up, and we're revealing what you can expect from OJ's first trip to the stand. All on OJ Friday on the next Rolonda.
After this hour. Listen, this Saturday, folks, this Saturday is Make a Difference Day. Come on and join the 1 million people all across America doing everything and anything to help a neighbor, help their communities become better. Richard Dreyfuss, Naomi Judd, Paul Newman, these folks are going to be judging your good deeds, and you could win
$120,000 prizes.
Oh, doing a good deed could pay off.
That's right.
Right.
We choose 60 projects that really exemplify the spirit of making a difference.
And what are you going to be doing in Nashville?
Awards.
Because I know that 1 out of every 4 children in America are hungry. We're doing this thing for Feed the Children. You're being kind enough to show the 1-800 number. So if you'll bring canned food, non-perishable foods, and you also get a T-shirt with all the country artists' autograph on it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But I just want to tell you guys, we're getting ready to have an election in this country, but it's not up to the government. It's up to you.
That's right.
And
That's
me.
right. And isn't this what America's built on anyway?
Amen to that.
Neighbors helping
I made
neighbors.
a couple of, in my hotel room just now, call and write relatives, adopt a pet, work at Habitat for Humanity, collect food and blankets for the emergency shelters.
1 out of 5 Americans can't read. Teach somebody how to read.
That's right.
There's so much you can do. Get in your neighborhood, sit with your family, even your kids, and figure out something wonderful you can do. America, neighbors help